Welcome to Ray's Anatomy. I am Corey Ray Kovacs, registered nurse and cyclical lifestyle coach. Thank you so much for joining me on Ray's Anatomy. This is part 2 of my experience with a 36-hour fast. If you haven't seen the first part, I'll give you the cliff notes. I basically was sharing my story about my challenges with managing polycystic ovarian syndrome and blood sugar management throughout my life, and how I came into fasting, and particularly why I chose to do a 36-hour fast. This episode, what I want to talk about is, hang on, I'm going to take another sip here. What I want to share with you are my lessons that I learned while I was doing this fast, and some observations I had, because they were curious. I was not expecting some of these things that came up, and some of the things that I was expecting didn't happen. So make sure that you keep watching, and if you like what you're watching, then make sure you subscribe. So I chose to do a 36-hour fast this month in my what we call power phase, in my first part of my menstrual cycle, because I live my life through a cyclical, I'm a cyclical lifestyle coach. So I live through the cycles. I literally live my life through my internal cycle and also the external cycle of nature. And so my approach to wellness is it's science-based and it's intuitive-based. I am a rather enigma, I don't know. I am a very, very much a person who loves science and loves spirituality. And so I am both. I am both these things and more. And so if you jive with that kind of vibe, then you are definitely in the right place. But needless to say, this fasting experience, this 36-hour fast, has been both incredibly informative from a scientific perspective and deeply informative and connective in a spiritual sense. It's been quite fascinating, actually. I'm still breaking my fast right now. I'm almost done with my bone broth, and I'm about ready for some food, which is great. But there's a whole process that comes to breaking your fast, and if that's something you're interested in, then let me know in the comments, and I'll make a video on it. But yeah, I wanted to share some of these observations with you from both a scientific standpoint and from a spiritual standpoint, or an energetic standpoint, whatever verbiage jives with you. Take whatever, and just share like how this went for me. So from a scientific perspective, I really thought that I was gonna feel like crap. Not gonna lie. I thought that I was gonna be hungry the whole time. I thought I was only going to be thinking about food the whole time. I thought I was just going to be miserable. I was like, oh, how am I going to get through 36 hours? That sounds so long without food. I've never gone that long without food in my life. How the fuck am I going to do that? Well, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Actually, it wasn't bad at all. So I know for my body, it takes me about 13 to 14 hours for my body to switch over to my fat burner system. So where I go from using food as a fuel source to using my fat stores as a fuel source. And for me, it takes about 13 to 14 hours-ish for that process to be complete. And so I got a little hungry around that time. You know, that's pretty normal. I consistently fast 17 hours, so I know that's just a part of the process. And I know as soon as as soon as that I fully switch over and I'm making ketones, I'm feeling great. So I wasn't really worried about that part. But at about I started, so I guess I'll share this first. So I I had my last meal, not yesterday, day before yesterday in the evening, around 7 p.m. So yesterday morning at 7 a.m., 7, 8 a.m., I knew I was like about there. And so I checked my blood sugar. I checked my ketones to see where I was at. Hadn't quite switched over yet at about 6:30 yesterday morning, which is about, 11 and a half hours, which is to be expected. So was feeling a little hungry yesterday morning. And so usually when that happens, I usually give myself a lot of love. I hold my body. I say, hey girl, hey, we are doing good stuff here. It's okay. Ketones are coming soon. You're good. You're all right. And so she's like, okay, and I always pay attention at that time, because if you watch the other video, you'll hear me talk about like how I would feel when I was having low blood sugar. And so I would always, when I'm in that spot before things switch, I always check in with myself and I ask, how am I feeling? Am I feeling shaky? Am I feeling headachy? Am I feeling that cloudiness that comes? Am I feeling clammy in my hands? It's chilly. I don't get my hands in my mitts. So I always check in with myself to see how I'm doing, because there might be some days when maybe my stress is up a little bit, or maybe I made some less than stellar decisions in my food choices and I'm struggling a little bit to switch over. And so if that's the case, then I would break my fast. That is one thing that is so important, is learning how to trust your body and your body to trust you, that you're going to take care of her. And so if I'm experiencing those hypoglycemic feelings, I break my fast. I don't wait. I break my fast. It's, if I'm just hungry, then I might have a fasted snack or something like that. But typically, like if I'm really feeling that shakiness, or or I have indicators on my glucose monitor that I have low blood sugar, then I will break my fast. And by low blood sugar, I mean below 60. So, which I have not experienced since I've been doing this. I have had times when I was shaky and decided to break my fast early, but it was kind of in the early stages of when I was learning. So yeah, I checked around yesterday afternoon. I was feeling pretty good. I was feeling good. I was on day 8 of my cycle. I'm like, estrogen is rising, feeling a lot of energy. I was grooving. I was dancing around the house. I was feeling fantastic. So I was really enjoying that part. Around the afternoon, I checked my monitor, and yep, sure enough, I had switched over, right? So my body had told me we switched over. My numbers told me I switched over to ketosis. And so I think I was at 0.8, I think is where my ketones were, which anything above a 0.5 is ketosis. So I was at a 0.8, which was awesome. I was like, yeah, let's go. Woo! And so yeah, got to that. And then the evening time, I had to go to the grocery store. Oh, I thought that I was going to be miserable in the grocery. You know that feeling that you get when you're hungry and you go to the grocery and then you end up buying all the shitty food because you're hungry. I was worried about that. So I took some precautions to make sure that I wasn't doing that. But to be honest, I didn't feel those cravings. Like I wasn't wanting like potato chips or junky stuff. I bought what was on my list. I was very clear. I was like very focused. So I bought what was on my list, and I had ordered pickup from Aldi. And so it wasn't that bad. I did choose to have a couple of things called fasted snacks while I was fasting yesterday. So while you are fasting. You can have what's called a fasted snack, which is there's some parameters for it. Basically, it's like under 200 calories, under 5 grams of protein, under 18 grams of fat, and under, I think it's 4 carbohydrates. I'd have to double check on that. But yeah, it's, so it's primarily fat. It's a fat bomb, right? So a fat bomb. I had a couple fat bombs yesterday in order to help me make sure that I was taking care of my blood sugar, and to, think of fasted snacks like fasting training wheels. They're a way to help you keep leaning into the healing part of fasting, but also when you're learning how to fast, it's like learning how to ride a bike. You're training wheels. So fasted snacks are like that. And it was really great that I had, that I've learned about fasted snacks, and to lean into that and to know when it's time to do that. And so I had a fasted snack before I went to the grocery store, which was around the 20-hour mark. It was about 5 o'clock yesterday when I left for the grocery store. So I was about, or not 22-hour mark, excuse me. So that fasted snack was great. It was perfect. I went to the grocery, felt fine, actually felt really good. I was definitely feeling into the little buzzy energy that you get when you're in ketosis. If you've ever been in ketosis, you know what I'm talking about, right? That kind of buzzy feeling that you get. It's a different feeling. And so I was like definitely feeling into that, and I was feeling good. Let's see, where was I at? I thought that I was gonna have a headache, because that's sometimes, one of those experiences of when you don't eat, you get headaches. And I will say, like, there was a point last night after I got home that I had a little pressure in my head. It wasn't a headache, but it was pressure. And then I realized why. Because I was wearing my beanie. The moment I took my beanie off, it went away. I was like, oh, okay, that wasn't food related. That was because I had a beanie on my head. So I thought that was funny. But I was paying attention, right? I was paying attention. I was like, ooh, headache, right? Because remember, headaches are one of my first signs that I have low blood sugar. And so, but I took my beanie off, and I was like, oh, no more headache. I'm fine. So last night, right before I went to bed, so around just before 10 o'clock, I took my numbers one more time, because I wanted to check and see where I was at before I went to bed. That's important. So as a registered nurse, like, when you go to sleep, your blood sugar can drop. And so this is super important. If you are interested, please take notes on this. If you are interested in having a fasted lifestyle, it's really important for you to take your blood sugar before you go to bed. This is why I super encourage, and I talk to all of my clients, get a glucose monitor, whether it be a continuous glucose monitor or a handheld finger prick monitor. That's what I use, is a Keto Mojo. Use those tools, because you want to make sure that what you're doing is also keeping your body safe. And I think the numbers are not everything, but they certainly do help, because you're also pairing the numbers with your feeling, like how you're feeling physically. So before you go to bed, you want to make sure that your blood sugar doesn't drop, right? It's going to maybe drop a little bit when you're going to sleep, but you don't want to start at a really low level and then not have anything for the rest of the night. Your body will adjust, right? It will take that blood sugar, the sugar from your fat stores to use for your body, for your metabolic processes while you're sleeping. But low blood sugar can interrupt your sleep. Low blood sugar can wake you up, right? Your body's going to wake you up because you're like, hey, I'm hungry, bitch. Feed me. We need sugar. We need, something's, amiss. And usually that's typical when you are first starting a fasting journey, or if you're under a lot of stress or things like that. So it's really important to pay attention to that. So because this was the first time I was doing a 36-hour fast, and because I am a little bit on the cautious side when it comes to fasting, I took my blood sugar and my ketones again last night right before I went to bed. And based on that information, I was going to decide whether I was going to do a fasted snack. And then I was also tuning into my body as well and finding out, like, how do I feel actually? So I took my blood glucose last night and I was sitting right at 70. Now, 70 is kind of the bottom part of normal. We consider, I mean, it depends on what lab you're talking about, but really in a fasted state, you should be between 70 and 90 for glucose if you're in the United States or you use that. There's metric measurements of that, and I can't remember those off the top of my head right now. But 70 to 90 is your glucose levels. And so when I took mine last night, I was right at 70. My ketones were good. I was making ketones. It was, so I was like, okay, I'm still in ketosis. Everything's good there. But my blood sugar's borderline. It said 70. I know that for me and my body, if I went to bed with my blood glucose at 70, I'm likely going to have some lower blood sugar when I go to, at some point at the night, and it's probably going to interrupt my sleep, and I'm not going to sleep very well. And so I had another fasted snack right before bed. I had a little cup of avocado guacamole. So it's just, that's another fat bomb. It's avocado guacamole. There was nothing added into it except for some, salt and little bit of spices, but nothing else in it that was going to break my fast. So I had that little cup right before I went to bed, and I tell you what, I slept like a fucking baby. I slept like a rock. I went right to sleep, and I slept straight through. And when I woke up this morning, I felt so good. This is the part where it shifted into the spiritual. This is the part where my energetics kicked in. When I woke up this morning, I could literally feel love coursing through my body. I could feel love in me and all around me. I have a routine when I wake up in the morning. I always offer gratitude to my bed and to my pillows and to my body for keeping me safe while I sleep. Because that's a privilege. It's a privilege to keep breathing. It's a privilege to be alive. It is such a miracle that we are even here, that we are even breathing and healthy enough to get up out of bed. We get to do that every day, and I think we forget that sometimes. And so I've made it a practice to wake up every single morning and thank my bed for helping me sleep good. Helping me have a beautiful, restful sleep, even if it was maybe a little challenging. I still offer gratitude to keeping me safe. I offer gratitude to my warm, cuddly blankets. I offer gratitude to my puppy for snuggling me. I offer gratitude to my body. And I stick my little feet inside my slippers as I take my drink of water. And I'm doing all of this. And as I was doing this morning, I felt it like it was magnified. I'm used to that feeling of gratitude and love and a warm sensation in the morning when I do this practice. But today it was like, whoo, man, somebody had turned the volume up on the love, and I was feeling it all over my body, and I was smiling. And I was like, oh, this feels so good. I feel so good. Wow. Okay. And so I got up and I did, I have my morning routine. I go up and up to my meditation chair and I meditate and I journal and I give myself my space and my time, and I made my tea and I give myself my space and my time before Asen wakes up. Asen is my daughter. She's my 11-year-old daughter. And so I do my self-care before she wakes up, and I realized while I was sitting there, like, my meditation was just super beautiful. I did an EFT tapping session, and my journal prompt was really clear. It just, gosh, I was just feeling so awesome and in the moment, like super present with myself. So then, I hear Asen's alarm because my chair is right outside her room. And so I hear her alarm, and as she comes out of the room, I just was like, oh my gosh, I get to have 15 minutes cuddling this little girl. This who's not so little anymore. She gets into my lap and I'm like, she's not so little anymore, but she still crawls into my lap. And we do this every morning. And I was just so, like, I told her this morning, I was like, thank you so much for choosing me to be your mommy. You are an incredible young girl. And if I had, like, you're just the best girl for me. And I had said that was what I said. It was something about her being my only child, because she is. I only got to be a mom once. That wasn't in the plan. And sometimes I'm sad about that. Sometimes I'm sad about only having one daughter. And that's a grief that I continue to heal every day. Life circumstances plus my experience with polycystic ovarian syndrome meant that it was very difficult for me to get pregnant. I had to get help to even get pregnant with Asen. And so I'm just so grateful that I got to have her. And I felt every bit of that this morning. I felt every bit of that gratitude. And I have to admit that there was a long time when I was disconnected from my life, when I felt like I felt resentful that was the life that I was living, that I felt like I was cheated out of a life that I thought I was supposed to live got stolen from me. And to experience that this morning was deeply profound. And it sounds so mundane on a random Thursday morning in the middle of April. Like, nothing spectacular is happening today well, I'm getting a mammogram today, so there's that. But other than that, nothing else spectacular is happening today. I just so happen to be this person on this floating rock in the middle of the Milky Way doing a 36-hour fast to help heal her body and heal her gut. But in that moment, everything stopped. In that moment, everything just felt, my heart was so big. And that was something I was not anticipating. I did not expect to be feeling such a profound spiritual moment, connection moment with myself and my daughter this morning on a random Thursday in the middle of April. It's interesting because the profoundness started, it kept going. Like, I came downstairs and I pet my puppy. And it was just like, there was love there. And I I kissed Dan before he left for work, and it was just, oh my gosh, my heart just like, oh, I just swooned. I swooned over my partner this morning as he went off to work, and then I like watched the sunrise as I was making my bone broth. I was heating it up, and I watched the sunrise, and then I was like, I want to come out here and share. I want to come out here outside. I was like, I want to be outside. And so I'm coming, and I'm looking at my, all these little leaves are starting to pop up on the trees, and the birds are singing, and here, like, I'll show you what I'm seeing. Here, so you can see. That's what I'm seeing. It's all these trees over here, And so that was a experience that I was not expecting, but I am so grateful for. And now I'm grateful that I get to eat. Which I've been talking, because I just did part 1 and now I did part 2. So I've literally been sitting here talking for an hour and I'm ready to eat. So, thank you for listening. I want to reflect this back to you. Magic is here. Magic is here in every moment when we tune into it. And sometimes there are things in our life that block us from seeing and feeling and experiencing the love that is already here. It's already here. All the love you've ever wanted to experience in the world is already inside of you. You just got to learn how to unlock it, how to let it out, how to let it course through your veins. And maybe that's through fasting, or maybe that's through movement, or maybe that's through, I don't know, anything. I feel like there's so many portals in. And for me, the portal back into my love was through me caring for my body. That's why I started this channel, is because I wanted to share all of these beautiful insights that I was having about the magic of our bodies and how incredible they are. And I wanted to share them with you, because maybe, just maybe, your body is your way back to your love too. Maybe your love is waiting for you. Maybe the love you've been looking for your whole life is not outside of you, but maybe it is inside of you. And if that's the case, let's find it. Let's go inside and find that love. Let's find it. There are ways to find it. And this is what this is my mission. This is my mission. This is what I want to do, is I want to help people find the love inside themselves. And particularly help the people who want to find the love inside themselves through their body. Because I think that's a magical portal back home. At least it was for me. And I know there's a lot of other people that find that too. And there are messages for everybody everywhere. But if you're here and you've sat here and listened to me talk for 30 minutes, then there's a good chance that this is a way in for you too. So, thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here, for listening. And I encourage you to reflect on some of these things, and reflect on your journey, your wellness journey, or reflect on your life and be like, where am I feeling disconnected? How can I care for myself today to help me tune back into the moment? And if you feel like you need a little help doing that, then shoot me a message. Find me on socials. I'm on socials everywhere, right? You can find me, Corey Ray Kovacs, on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Instagram at Corey Ray Wellness. I'm in all the social places. So shoot me a DM. I'd be happy to find a way to help you reconnect with yourself. This isn't, this isn't a journey that we're meant to do by ourselves. I don't do this journey by myself. I have so many people that I'm doing this journey with. I wouldn't be able to do it by myself. So I'm sending you so much love and joy and peace. You are worthy of every single ounce of it and more. You are worthy of having this glorious life that you dream of. And you are so worthy of your most vibrant life. Until next time.